This week, we're going to expand what we know about creating responsive websites. And we are going to be looking at some CSS properties and values that are specifically designed for mobile and responsive sites, which means they're designed for changing size when the screen size changes or the viewport changes. And then we will be looking at a layout called grid view. It's also been called the float layout. You'll see it called both things. And that is a responsive layout that basically splits the page into columns. And then you will assign a certain number of columns to different parts of the page. And then those parts end up lining up next to each other. And the number of columns that you typically create are 12. And then you could maybe have a navigation area in occupying the space of like 3 columns. You could have some content in the middle, maybe occupying 6 columns. And then you could have some content over on the right, occupying 3 columns. So it's a pretty powerful layout, and it's fairly easy to use. So that is what we are going to be going through this week. And so if you go into the overview, it basically just tells you what we're going to be working on. And the readings for this week focus on responsive design and also on the grid view layout that we are going to be working with. You will also learn about media queries. So with some of these layouts, what happens is that even though you have designed it for multiple platforms, sometimes things just don't look quite right on mobile or on tablet. And you can use a media query to set what's called a breakpoint, and typically it uses size. So you'll see these media queries. Some of them will have a maximum width of 480 pixels, which means a phone. Some of them will have a maximum width of like 786 pixels, which means a tablet. And so you will see these media queries kind of tweak CSS settings so that the page looks nice, in the different formats that it's viewed. So all of these different pages, they're all short reads, but they do give you some background information on what we're going to be working with. And the lecture demo goes into a lot more detail. And I like pictures, so you get a lot of pictures in these lecture demos. So as you go through here, we do discuss what a viewport is and a special responsive tag that you need to put in the head section at the top of your code. So you can kind of read through this. Relative widths are important. And so these are all relative measurements. Okay, and then this is a grid view layout. And you can kind of see the lines here for the 12 columns. And then you can kind of see how I've kind of shaded in where I want the heading, where I'm going to put the menu, where I got the footer, and I've got my different content areas. Okay, and as you read through here, you will learn how to create that grid view layout. Once you get done with the lecture demo, you are going to go into the textbook assignment, and you will have practice using that grid view layout. And so what we're going to be doing is taking that Acme, vertical Acme website that you created last week, that you added the menus to, and we are going to copy that into the lesson 10 or into the lesson 11 folder. So we'll be copying a folder from lesson 10 into lesson 11. And then you are going to open the CSS for editing. And this first command is actually super important for responsive design, because this asterisk means change everything. And so this affects all of your page, and set box sizing to border box, which means that it will include the borders and the padding and the content area in the width of the box, which is what you want when you are laying out these pages. Okay, so as you go through here, the code that you need to add is highlighted. You can see this code is specifically for the grid view layout. And then once you get done changing the CSS, you do have to go in to the HTML and add the classes that represent the columns. Okay, so you're going to create the columns in the CSS, and then the way you connect those columns to your page is you have to put those column classes in the page. Okay, and so this is a single row, and so you can see that we've got 3 and 9 equals 12, and we should always have 12 columns across in a row. Okay, so that is what you guys are going to be working with in that task 2. In task number 3, I have a site that you are going to download, and it is not the Acme ones anymore. This is a made-up spa. And so you're going to extract those files, and then you are going to be adding to the CSS. And so you can see we have a mobile layout here, and we've got our tablet, and then we've got our desktop. So we're using the media queries there. And this is mobile first. The default layout is mobile. And then once you get the CSS updated, you are going to have to go into all of the HTML pages and make changes and add those classes. And you will be adding the class for desktop and the class for the tablets. The default class is phone. Okay, and so the class for desktop and tablets is only really going to come into play if the screen size is big enough. Okay, and so once you do all of that, then we are going to convert our CSS. We're going to make a copy of it, and we are going to make it printer friendly. And the lecture demo does go through how to make your sites printer friendly. Okay, so if we come down here, this section explains everything that you need to do. And it kind of sounds easy enough, but trying to get it to look good printing can be a little bit tricky. And so it does explain how to do it here. And you are going to be practicing making the site, the Zen Spa site, printer friendly in task 4. So you're going to end up with 2 different style sheets. They're both going to be external, but one is going to be for printing only, and the other one is going to be for the screens. And it's really important that you put media equal print for the one that is printer only. Okay, and then usually you put media equal all or media equal screen for the other one. Once you get done making it printer friendly, then you are going to insert some attributes for SEO. And SEO is search engine optimization. We also covered that in the lecture demo as well. And we don't get into, the nitty-gritties of SEO, but there are some things that you can do in your web page, in your code, that will help your page float to the top when users search for specific keywords. So in the Zen Spa pages, you are going to be adding a description and some keywords. And the different search engines either will pull in your description when they display the page with the results. They'll either pull in the description from the meta tag, or sometimes they just take the first couple sentences in the page. It just depends on how those search engines are programmed. But you will also be adding some attributes or modifying some attributes. And this little alt text is alternate text for the picture. And whenever you can add the branding words for the site into the alt text, that will help the search engines find it. And it'll help your page go to the top of the results. So any place you can add those, whether it be in titles or in alt text, the more places you have your branding text, the better. Okay, so you will end up having to change quite a few of the pages and add the meta tags for the description and the keywords, in addition to modifying some of the alt text. This next exercise is really not anything you'd have to turn in, but it is awfully darned cool. And there is a video that you guys can watch. But if you press F12, I'm going to show you this real quick. There is a mobile emulator in here, and you can turn it on. It's a toggle, so you click on it, and that turns it on. And then if you click on the list arrow, you have all sorts of devices that you can emulate, and you can see how your page is going to look. Okay, and then you can turn it off. Okay, so that is actually pretty cool, that feature in Chrome. And so that's what task 6 is basically showing you how to use. So once you're done, you are going to have the Acme vertical folder, and you will have the Zen folder that you will be transferring to the web. And they should both be inside your Lesson 11 folder. Okay, then after you get that transferred, you can go ahead and submit done to the Dropbox, and then you will move on to the lab assignment. So for the lab assignment, you are going to create your own grid view page. And the lab assignment that you work on this week and the one that you work on next week, you can use either one as a basis for your final project. And so the minimum requirements are listed here. Okay? And these are very similar to quite a few of the requirements that are in that final project, which is why I let you guys double dip. Okay, so if you look through here, you can see what the requirements are. I actually gave you a sample structure for the page. And then here are the CSS minimum requirements. And you're going to also have to have a print CSS. So there are minimum requirements there as well. Whatever topic you guys decide to use here, next week, you will be doing a CSS grid page, and you can actually use the same topic if you want. If you want to do a different topic, that's fine. But you certainly could use the same topic. The examples that I've given this week, you will see again next week with the different layout. So I gave several examples. So this is one. And if you press F12 and you turn this on, you can see that it does look a little bit different in the phone view versus iPad and desktop. Okay, so that is one of the examples. Here's another one. So I have a little CSS magic in this one. And I think these link too. Yep, they do. So I actually made these link out. And so all of these images I got off of Pixabay. They're all royalty free. And so that is one of the examples. And you are not going to learn how to put this menu in for a while. So don't worry about this. But this also was an example that I had for the term project because I added the different requirements in here. Then I've also got this. Again, you'll notice it's just a kind of a different look. And you can see I did the fun little flip thing and I've got the links here. And then the menu you are not going to learn how to do until we cover JavaScript. Okay, so, but you can kind of set up your page this week and next week, do something that you like, and then you can use it as a basis for your final project. Okay, so that is what you are going to be working on. And then once you're done, you will add the lesson 11 links to your assignment page and then get everything transferred. Okay, then you will submit done to the Dropbox and you will be done with lesson 11 part 1. If you do run into problems, please let me know. And again, if you look at some of the examples that are a little bit more advanced, you will notice there are some things in here that you do not know. And that is because we haven't learned them yet. And this is something that I used as a basis for the term project. So you don't know how to do JavaScript yet, but you will be learning a little bit of JavaScript in lesson 12. Okay. Although I think most of the other things you do know how to do. You'll notice I have the tip class in here. You guys have already learned how to do that. You have learned CSS3. So a lot of this you know. I've also got, you can see here, I've got my classes defined for the 3 columns. And I did my header up here. And that's I just made it 12. So it's the full width. Okay, but if you are curious how I did anything, you can look and you can also take a look at my print CSS and my screen CSS. And if you run into problems, have questions, let me know.